we talk about problems like climate change, poverty, and global health, we're not talking just about large-scale issues. We're talking about challenges so massive that no single organization can tackle them alone. These grand challenges demand collaboration from a variety of players, businesses, governments, nonprofits, and even local communities, people that are not used to working together. But getting all of these different groups together isn't easy. They often have different goals, values, and ways of doing things, which makes collaboration, particularly over the long term, really tricky. In our article published in the California Management Review titled Chipping Away at a Grand Challenge, Aligning Goal and Governance to Reduce Homelessness, my co-authors and I explore how these diverse groups can collaborate effectively over the long term. We focused on homelessness, a problem so severe that the United Nations calls it a serious violation of human dignity. It's an issue that affects nearly a third of the world's population. But instead of trying to solve homelessness, we looked at efforts that have successfully reduced its impact in local communities. We studied 4 initiatives in places like Brazil, the United States, and the United Kingdom to see what worked. We found that organizations dealing with grand challenges like homelessness face 2 really big decisions. First, they need to decide how much of the problem they want to tackle. Essentially, how big a bite of the problem do they want to take? This helps them define success and shapes their efforts accordingly. Second, they need to think about how much decision-making power they want to share with others. Do they want to keep control, or are they open to sharing authority with other groups? From these decisions, 4 types of goal governance alignments emerged. When organizations focused on a specific goal, like a housing project, and kept decision-making centralized, they formed partnerships. These are tight-knit collaborations with clear roles and responsibilities. For example, in England, the Embassy Village is a partnership between private firms, a local nonprofit, and public agencies all working together to help chronically unhoused locals transition to independent living. Coalitions, on the other hand, are more loosely connected groups that share decision-making and use shared tools to reach their goals. Instead of relying on contracts, they depend on mutual understanding and face-to-face cooperation. A good example is the Homeless Outreach Team in San Rafael, California, which is a coalition of local public and nonprofit organizations working together to help the chronically homeless find permanent housing. When organizations want to aim for even broader goals but retain control, they evolve into missions. They engage in multiple partnerships and coalition, but maintain strategic control over all of their initiatives. Father Joe's Villages in San Diego is an example of this. They set a broad goal of never turning away anyone who is homeless, and over time, they've become the largest nonprofit homeless service provider in San Diego, helping thousands of people each year. Movements are much like missions, but with a focus on inclusivity and engagement. They don't rely on direct control, but instead create a space where many voices can contribute. The MSTC, or Movimento Sem Teto do Centro de São Paulo, is an example of this. They have a broad agenda and involve their participants deeply in decision-making through a robust participation architecture. Our framework showcases these 4 approaches and provides a starting point for addressing the local effects of grand challenges, a topic that often lacks concrete success stories. Depending on the scope of their goals, organizations can choose to form partnerships, build coalitions, create missions, or foster movements that make a real impact. Of course, these efforts need to be continuously evaluated and adapted, and learning from experience strengthens future collaborations and inspires new initiatives. We are really excited to share our research, and we hope that it encourages others to think carefully about goal setting and governance as they work on chipping away at these grand challenges. On behalf of my co-authors, thank you so much for your attention.